size farms, some large ones, but not too many.
Mostly family, though.
Right, mostly family farms. And we're more like Wisconsin, where we're heavy dairy, but Wisconsin actually in the year 2003 had an overtime law. They repealed it, Reed, because they realized that it was hurting agriculture so badly. So that's one part, the overtime. The second part, and this is nutty, but it would require farmers to pay higher unemployment insurance rates on seasonal workers that will never work long enough to be able to collect unemployment. So it's just adding to the cost for farmers, and it just doesn't make sense.
It's a tax.
Right, exactly.
Just a simple tax.
Exactly. And then the third part of it has to do with collective bargaining and allowing farm workers to organize and allowing them to strike at any time. So imagine what would happen, for example, during grape harvest.
Prime time.
Exactly. If there was a strike, how long do you think these farmers, these growers would be able to stay in business? Not long at all. And so it's just very, very, very bad legislation. It's being driven out of New York City. That's really who's behind it. I had quite a debate with Carrie Kennedy, who is Robert F. Kennedy's daughter, and she runs a social justice center out of Manhattan, I believe it is. But they don't have any real view of upstate, and I've asked people who are pushing this bill whether they've actually ever been on a farm. Some maybe have visited a farm once, but they don't have any understanding of agriculture in New York State. And it's our #1 industry, and it's $4.1 billion per year. It pumps into our economy. If you lose that, it's just basically over for upstate, I think.
Well, I think, again, the downstaters, I guess I mentioned this, you're lucky. Today is the day I usually eat my leeks publicly.
And you're not?
I'm not going to. I'll eat them next week. But I I eat a whole bunch of leeks during the program to show they're delicious and they don't hurt you in the slightest, and that baloney about them stinking is nonsense. They have a mild garlicky taste, and they're wonderful. They're wonderful. And they grow in oceans up here. You go into any woods, there's oceans of them this time of year. Take a shovel, you can pick up in a couple of scoops 5-gallon can full of them, and they're easy to clean. You strip them with your fingers. And
do you make leek soup?
I have made, these are a different kind of leek, incidentally. The leek soup is that great big thick thing, you know.
Right.
These are little thin things. They're small, and they grow, they're actually a wild garlic. And yes, I've tried it anyway. It's pretty good. Vichyssoise, the potato leek soup. But usually I mix it up with garlic and olive oil and put it away for a while in my freezer and take it out and scoop it at a time. Oh, heavenly, Cathy. It's just wonderful. And I eat them, just eat them up like little onions. They're just absolutely scrumptious that way. I can eat a whole 5-gallon can myself. Meantime, the downstaters in their wisdom who run the DEC down there, the guy gets out, I think, I can just imagine he walked out of his $5 million condo over on Central Park and walked into Central Park and said, I don't see any leeks. Declared them immediately an endangered species.
Are they now? Have they been declared?
Yeah, well, the first level, is it endangered or is it, I think it's endangered. But whatever the first level is, now you cannot take leeks.
You ate too many of those, Reed.
Actually, there are so many leeks up here, so many leeks up here. I see oceans of them everywhere in New York State except in Central Park. So now you can't just take them, but under the rules, you can, a threatened species. They're a threatened species. Right. The next step is endangered. They're threatened. So if they're threatened, you have to ask the permission of the owner of the land to take one. Well, who doesn't anyway, you know? And secondly, there's one other silly restriction that goes with that. Ridiculous. These people downstate, Cathy, I keep reminding people we have literally the French, when they came through, they recorded, this is a Garden of Eden up here. And you don't want to tell them about it. You'll have the same people up here. The same people that, incidentally, the DEC also did a funny thing two funny things in Long Island. One day they found out that there's some kind of disease that can be in horse manure or whatever. They forbade anybody from using horse manure in their garden.
Oh, no.
Yeah, of all the crazy things. So I rounded up some pals, and we had a TV show all ready with a lot of press, and I called the DEC, said, you may want to come over and watch this, because I'm going to violate the law. I'm going to put this it was a hazardous substance under the rules, on my tomatoes. That afternoon they called me, don't worry, we changed it, you can use it now.
See, and that's what has to happen. Sometimes when you publicly
Yes.
point out these issues,
Yeah.
then you're able to
Well,
change
these
those,
same
and that's
folks
what we're trying to do.
one day declared on Long Island, where I lived, that the fire alarm, the smoke alarm, cannot be thrown away in the rubbish because it's a nuclear. It has a nuclear device in it. Well, it's like the radiation on your your watch, you know. And so I called them and said, "Well, what are we supposed to do with them?" They said, "Well, you dispose of them properly." And I said, "Well, what's that? How do we do it? You know, there's 7 million people out here who probably have 1 million of these go bad every day or every year for sure." And he said, "Well, you better call the people that dispose of it." So I did. I called him. I said, "You know, I have this nuclear device here. It's a fire alarm thing, but it's declared such. What do I have to do?" He said, "Well, we'll come over in an armored truck with lead lining, and we'll bring a big lead box in. We put it in the lead box and with hazardous equipment on, and we seal it, and we take it out to Utah."
It doesn't make you feel very safe to have that
No,
in
I
your
said,
home.
"Well, what's it cost?" He said, "Oh, well, the average cost is about $7,000.
Oh boy.
I called them and said, "I'm going to throw one publicly again." And
death of common sense,
they
right?
changed it immediately. They said, "Well, although they've had severe restrictions, you could only throw one away in your trash at a time." All the dumb things. Caller, good morning. Here I'm rattling off and taking all her time.
Good morning. Good morning.
What's up?
Good morning.
Well, first off, I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all the mothers in the hearing or seeing who are watching your show.
Okay.
A happy New Year. Or
Well, Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Come on,
that
lady,
too.
get it right.
That too. Happy Mother's Day, and I'd like to wish a special Mother's Day to Mrs. Bishop, who has the dance studio in Westfield, because she takes all these girls and she kind of...
She's a big den mother.
She takes them under her wing, and she helps them as their journey from little girls...
She's a mother hen.
into and has
Okay.
very good influence on them. Anyhow, I have a question for your guest.
Sure.
And it concerns if, Lord forbid, your spouse has to go into a nursing home. It used to be there was a 1 year you had to private pay, and then it went to 3 years, and apparently now it's gone to 5 years. But like in the case, I know someone who had a 3 year, and now that it's gone to 5 years, the person is responsible for another 2 years because apparently he didn't have a trust. And
You're talking about the look-back period, when they will
Yes.
take anything he may have given
For
somebody.
Medicaid costs, right.
If you don't have your stuff in a trust and so forth, what it does is it makes now you have made the person that is the spouse, because nursing homes have become so expensive. The spouse, in most cases, unless you're a millionaire, is going to become impoverished themselves. So when Lord forbid, they end up in a nursing home, then there's going to be no look-back period because there's no other spouse, et cetera, unless they have, which they don't.
Did you have a question, madam?
Yes. Why is it that it has gone from 1 year, which seemed fairly reasonable, to 3 years? Now it's to 5 years. And I hear there's talk to increase it even further.
Well, basically, it's because it's such a very costly proposition. And as you said, nursing homes are very, very expensive. And if people have resources, and especially it's recommended to have long-term care insurance, but if you have resources to pay for nursing home care yourself, then that should be utilized first before you hit the taxpayers. One of the reasons that our taxes are so high in New York State, and especially our property taxes, are because of the Medicaid program. And certainly if somebody doesn't have the resources to pay for nursing home care, they should absolutely be able to get it through the Medicaid program. But if people have other resources to pay for it, and you mentioned the spouse, there are protections in the law for a spouse so that they don't lose everything if their spouse has to go into a nursing home.
Now,
so
what is this protection?
100,000, isn't it?
yeah, there's something like that.
You're allowed
So
to keep
there are-
100,000.
There are,
Okay,
there
I
are
didn't
protections
realize
in the
You
law.
can keep up to $1,800 a month in your income. That's
Right.
the last time I looked.
But see, the thing is, in New York State, we spend more on Medicaid than Texas and California combined, and actually it's grown to a $52 billion a year program. And I feel very strongly it should go toward the truly needy, but unfortunately right now, there's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse in the system. And it's not just, with the medical piece of it, but it's also with the welfare portion of it that has grown significantly Last year, the governor repealed a lot of the welfare fraud detections that were previously in place, things like finger imaging, face-to-face interviews, and asset testing.